This has sort of been a thing going on. It seems like Jim Harbaugh v. the NCAA has sort of been like a battle that's been going on all off season. Now it's trickled in the season. Now Michigan is being investigated by the NCAA for sending people to opposing teams' practices to sort of study what their hand signals are and their plays or whatnot. And there have been coaches that have accused Michigan of sign stealing. And basically some coaches have said, hey, there's something fishy going on. And now they're being investigated by the NCAA. But of course, we all know that the NCAA is sort of in a feud right now with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. So the question is, one, do you think this is a warranted investigation? And two, even if it's warranted, do you think this is like the NCAA like taking personal matters into just a grudge they got going on versus Harbaugh?
NCAA has no shortage of things that I would put past them. Honestly, it could be a grudge against Harbaugh. I mean, me as an Oklahoma State fan, the NCAA penalizes my program, but not everyone else who had way more egregious basketball offenses. We'll leave it at that. And, you know, a bunch of other stuff with Des Bryant and yada, yada. I can go on forever. But anyway, they pick and choose. The NCAA picks and chooses who they're going to enforce on. And if they don't like you, which they clearly don't like Jim Harbaugh, they're going to try to find any way to come about you. So I think maybe there's legitimacy, but is it hyperinflated by the NCAA to try to like bring pressure on the program? Probably.
I think it's kind of a witch hunt. And I heard a rumor that Michigan State, considered not playing Michigan this week due to this. Please, it's because they did exactly what we thought they'd do to you and beat the crap out of you in East Lansing. No, they knew they had no talent, so they're like, yeah, it's so unethical of our arch rival, stealing signs. Like we've alluded earlier in the pod and all season, none of Michigan's opponents have indicated that stealing their signs would really change the outcome. I mean, in fact, it makes me believe that they didn't, because if Michigan had stole the signs, they would have won these games by 70. So I think it's kind of a witch hunt, and I think there's much bigger things the NCAA should worry about. Like, I don't know, like regulating NIL, but what do I know?
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, if you're Michigan and you actually are like going this far to steal opposing team signs against this schedule, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to steal signs to beat Rutgers.
We need to know what Rutgers is doing.
Yeah, really, we really got to know. We got to send our guys to Indiana to see what the Hoosiers are doing, because we feel very threatened by them. No, listen, with all things witch hunts, even if against teams that I don't like or fan bases that I don't like, with these witch hunts, I think the NCAA is just being fools for themselves again.
Facetious.
Yes, listen. Every team, even everybody thinks that their team's all righteous and stuff, and when your team that you hate or your rival gets caught for doing something like this, you're like, oh yeah, they were cheating, I knew it. Well, listen, the fact of the matter is, like, this is just gamesmanship throughout all of sports. Like in baseball, stealing signs is totally a thing. The Astros took it a step further with the whole buzzer and stuff, but like even before the Astros did that, like teams would still steal signs. Like whenever there's a runner on second base, sometimes the guy would read what the catcher's pointing on his fingers, and he would make signals to the batter and say, hey, he's throwing this pitch. Like, that's fair game as far as I know. Same thing with football. Sometimes if you pick up on something, or teams being very lackadaisical, or you pick up a pattern with their signs and you think you know what they're calling, like, of course you're going to use that. That's just regular gamesmanship. I think that the difference here is that Michigan probably took it a step too far, which I'm sure they do. The Patriots did, the Astros did, Michigan does. Like, all the great teams, like, definitely try to take it a step further, but that doesn't mean that other teams aren't trying to do that as well. And I just think that this is just a load of hoopla. But,
well said.
It is kind of funny though that I think it is kind of the NCAA just doing this because they're pissed off at Harbaugh. That's what I really think this is for, which is really funny to me. But anyhow, we've talked enough about how
probably so. I wouldn't put it past them at all.
But yeah, but if this is true though, I just gotta say, why you don't need to do this, Michigan. Like, come on. Like, that's the thing. It's like, you don't need to do this against that schedule.
That would be the worst way to get their wins vacated.
Dude, seriously though, that's why I'm kind of like, all right, like if they were doing this against like Rutgers and Indiana and Bowling Green, then like you got a problem.